The stars looked cold tonight. Jalen stood alone on the empty balcony of the observation deck. High above the clouds of the orbital station, around him, other officers moved quietly through their duties, their faces blank, their voices soft. Station never slept, but it always felt lonely at this hour. And tonight, Yalin felt lonelier than ever. He stared at one bright point of light. Far off in the black sky, that star was called Verexfor, a peaceful world. Blue oceans, red grass, warm sunlight. And the place where she had gone, Commander Alamarin. She had been more than a friend. Not quite family. Not quite love. Something in between, something warm and safe. They had trained together in the Terran Defense Corps, ate their rations side by side, shared missions, jokes, stories. She laughed at his terrible singing. He gave her his last chocolate bar before the final exam. She once told him, "Humans survive anything. You'd survive an explosion with just a scratch." But then the war ended. The promotions came. And choices had to be made. Ala chose to join the diplomatic expansion fleet. She was assigned to Verix 4 years away. She left with a smile and a hug and a simple message. "When I arrive," she did. Once, a short transmission made it. "Beautiful place. I think I'll like it here." That was 6 months ago. Nothing after that. JLN blinked hard. His breath fogged the glass in front of him. The station was quiet except for the soft hum of power conduits and the flickering. Monitors showing peaceful trade lanes. He hadn't sent her a single message, not because he didn't care, because he didn't know what to say. He missed her. He wanted to talk. The longer he waited, the harder it became. What if she'd moved on? What if he'd just become another old chapter in her life? He felt foolish. Soldier who had survived battles, blackouts, boarding raids, yet a simple message scared him. He whispered, "I'm still here, Ala. Do you think of me too?" That night, he walked through the old training wing. It had been turned into a museum for new recruits' photos of old missions, holograms of heroes, display panels of Earth's long history. JALEN stopped at a section marked First Contact Memory Hall. There was a quote etched in steel from the first human ambassador to the stars. "They laughed at our small ships. They called Earth a death world. But when the storms came, they ran. And we stayed." Yalon stared at it for a long time. That was who humans were. Survivors, fighters. Not just in war, but in heart. They didn't give up. They reached out. Even when the universe turned cold, they built bridges where others built walls. He looked at his own reflection in the glass. Pale eyes, sharp jaw, tired lines on his forehead, but something steady behind the eyes. That old fire, that human spark. He went back to his room. The lights were low, the stars still bright outside his window. He sat in front of the console, hand hovering above the message recorder, still afraid. But this time, he smiled. Fear meant something mattered, and that was okay. He pressed the record button. "Ala, it's me. I've been meaning to call. I just didn't know how. I'm still here, I guess. Miss you. I hope you're okay out there. I'd love to hear your voice, even if it's just for a moment." He paused, then added softly, "Do you remember when you said I'd survive anything? You were wrong. I think I just survive better when you're around." He sent the message. No encryption. It's no code. Just raw, honest, human. Maybe she would hear it. Maybe she wouldn't. But he had reached out. And that was the first step. That night, as Yalin fell asleep, a tiny green light blinked on his console. Incoming transmission. Sender commander. Alamarin sat up slowly, heart racing. He opened the file, and as her face appeared on the screen, smiling wide, her first words made him laugh and tear up at the same time. "You took long enough, soldier." Yalin didn't sleep that night. After weeks of silence, months of hesitation, he had finally sent a message. And Ayla had answered. Her smiling face was on the screen, frozen in mid-wave. Her voice, cheerful and calm, echoed in his mind. "You took long enough, soldier." He replayed the message again and again. It wasn't long, just a short video. Ayla said she was fine. said Verx 4 was beautiful. She was learning the local languages. That her days were full of diplomatic training and attending formal alien ceremonies where everyone wore 10 layers of robes and danced in circles. She laughed. A small, familiar laugh. It made his heart ache, but then the message ended. No questions. No, how are you? No, I miss you. Just a simple update. Yalan stared at the blank screen after the message faded. His joy began to fade too. Voice inside whispered, maybe she's moved on. Maybe you're not important anymore. He stood up and walked to the window. The same star blinked quietly in the distance. HFY 4 still beautiful, still far. That day he went to the hangar deck. He told himself it was for a routine inspection. But really, he just needed something familiar. The ships were quiet giants, resting like sleeping dragons. Humans had built them from scraps, stolen tech, and determination. Not the biggest, not the fastest, but reliable, clever, brave. Just like their builders. He ran his hand along the hull of the patrol vessel Vigilant. His first assignment had been on that ship with Ayla. He remembered her sitting in the co-pilot's seat, arguing with him about music. She liked soft classical. He liked old Terran rock. He smiled, then sighed. Why did distance feel so heavy, so real? Later, he visited the CUM station. Not to send a message, but to help a young recruit, a teenage technician. Miko was panicking over a broken relay from the outer colonies. Alan showed him how to patch the backup channel, then stayed to help reroute messages as they worked. Miko asked, "Hey, sir, do you think it's true? The humans are different?" Yalan looked up. Different how? Like, that thing the Zentari say? That humans love harder, miss harder, hurt harder, like our feelings are louder. Alan thought for a long moment, then nodded. Yeah, I think it's true. Miko smiled. That's kind of cool. Yolan watched the transmission lights blink on the console, messages flying across the galaxy. Words and emotions packed into invisible waves of energy. He realized something. It wasn't just Allah who was far. He was far too far behind, stuck in memories, afraid to move forward. That night, he sat at his console again. This time, no fear. He opened the recorder. Hey, Ayla, got your message. Thanks for the update. But I was kind of hoping for more than a weather report, he chuckled. I'm not mad, just, I guess I thought maybe you missed me too. Or maybe I was hoping you did. We were a good team, weren't we? Still think about our time on the Vigilant. Still hear your voice every time I choose music. He paused. I'm proud of you. I mean it. You're out there doing something important. I hope you're smiling. And I hope, if you miss me too, even a little, you'll say so next time. He hit send. This time, his heart felt lighter, because reaching out is what humans do, even when it's scary. Even when it hurts. Especially when it matters. Ayla sat on the small balcony of her quarters on Verx 4, a cup of steaming flower tea in her hands. The alien sky above was lavender, with 2 moons and soft drifting clouds. Strange birds sang songs that reminded her of old Earth lullabies. It was beautiful, peaceful, but inside, she felt a quiet ache. She had received Jalen's message. Last night, she'd watched it 3 times. Then, a 4th, and she hadn't replied. Not because she didn't care, because she didn't know how. When she first arrived on Varix 4, everything felt new and exciting. The planet was filled with Wonderstall crystal trees, glowing rivers, flying manta-like creatures that carried children through the air. She threw herself into her work, learning, training, helping, to build trust between the Verexi and the human alliance. But at night, when everything was quiet, she found herself staring out the window, wondering if Yalan still sang in the shower, if he still overcooked his rice, if he still wore those awful socks with stars on them. He hadn't messaged her, so she didn't message either. Pride is a strange kind of loneliness now, with his message. Fresh in her mind, she felt something shift. She could hear his voice in her head, That teasing tone, the warmth behind his words. She missed him badly, but was it too late? Had she been silent too long? She looked around her room. Diplomatic files, hollow maps, gifts from Verexi officials, all neat, all perfect. Except one thing. On her desk was a tiny wooden star. He'd carved it for her during training. It wasn't beautiful, but it was real. Human. She picked it up and held it tightly, then stood. She went to the comms terminal, sat down. For the first time in months, didn't feel like an ambassador or a soldier. Just a girl who missed her best friend. She hit record, Yalan. I watched your message. I was scared to reply. I thought, maybe I waited too long. Maybe you were mad. She looked away, then back. I do miss you, a lot. I miss the quiet talks. The way you always made everything feel like it would be okay. I miss how safe I felt. When you were around, her voice cracked. Just a little. You once told me humans hold on longer than anyone else. I didn't believe you, but now, I think you were right. She smiled. I'm still here, and I left a window open, in case you ever want to fly out this way. She pressed send, then whispered, don't wait too long. Asterisk Galen sat on the edge of his bunk, holding a hot mug of synth coffee that had gone cold hours ago. The station around him buzzed with life crew walking, reports being filed. Ships docking, but all of it felt far away. He stared at the small blinking light on his screen. One new message. From Isla. His chest tightened. He wanted to open it the moment it came through, but something inside him froze. What if it wasn't what he hoped? What if she said goodbye? But Yalan wasn't the kind of man to run from truth. He reached out and tapped the screen. Her face appeared. She looked tired, but peaceful. Her hair was pulled back, and she wore the same simple blue jacket she always wore during academy study nights. That made him smile. Her voice was soft, but steady. Yalan, I watched your message. I was scared to reply. She spoke slowly, honestly, told him she missed him, told him she remembered the safety she felt with him. Then she said the words that made his heart stop. I left a window open, in case you ever want to fly out this way. He paused the message and sat back. Her words kept echoing in his mind. I left a window open. What did that mean? Did she want him to come? Did she just mean, as she was thinking? Of him? Was that hope or? Was it just kindness? He didn't know, but it felt real. It warmed something inside him. Jelen spent the next few days in a strange haze. He went to work, completed his shifts, repaired hull fractures, trained recruits, but every free second, his thoughts drifted back to Ayla's message. He didn't reply right away, not because he didn't want to, because he wanted it too much, and he didn't want to mess it up. Late one night, he walked down the old storage, hall deep inside the station. It was quiet there, a place where old gear was kept, boxes of tools, damaged tech, crates filled with dusty mission logs from forgotten crews. He opened one crate. Wow. Inside was a small black case. He smiled. It was his old harmonica. Ayla once called it the ugliest music in the stars. He brought it to his lips and played a soft, clumsy tune. Just 3 notes. But the sound echoed in the silence like a heartbeat. Humans had a way of turning pain into art, distance into memory, loneliness into song. That was their strength. They didn't just survive, they felt, and kept feeling no matter the years or the distance. The next morning, he sat at the comms terminal. No script, no plan, just heart. He recorded his message, Ayla. I don't know how to say this without sounding like a fool, but I'm glad you replied. I'm glad you miss me. I miss you too. He took a slow breath. I don't know what your window means, but if it means you still care, even a little, then I'll wait. I'll wait as long as it takes. He looked down. I want to come visit. I do. I don't want to get in the way of your work. You're doing something important. So I won't ask you to leave it. He leaned closer to the screen. But if you ever need someone to talk to, if you ever feel the stars are too quiet, you know where I am. He paused, then smiled. And for the record, I still play the harmonica badly, just in case you forgot. What true torture sounds like, he had sent. The next few weeks passed slowly. No reply. But this time, Yalan didn't fall into sadness. He held on because humans were good at that. They didn't give up when things got quiet. They didn't turn away just because answers didn't come right away. They waited. They trusted. They kept going. That was their way. That was hope. One evening, as Yalan walked past the station's gardens, a new section grown with biossoil from Earth, he noticed something new on the far wall. A painted mural had been added. It showed a tree with golden leaves standing alone on a hill beneath twin moons. It was Varexa-style art. He stopped and stared. Someone had left a message at the base of the mural. For words. The window is still open. No name, no sender. Just that, he smiled. Somehow, he knew Ayla had sent it. He sat on a nearby bench and leaned back. Watching the artificial sky of the dome shift to night, the stars above him were not real, but the feelings were, he whispered. I'll wait as long as it takes. And deep inside he knew. One day, she'd come through that window. The days moved slowly on Varex 4. Ayla walked the long garden paths of the alien capital. Trees of silver bark and violet leaves swayed in the wind. The air smelled like sweet roots and morning rain. Birds with glass-colored wings sang from above. It was beautiful, but not enough. Not anymore. Alla paused by a small stone bridge over a stream of glowing blue water. She sat down on the edge and looked into the current. Her reflection stared back, faint and tired. She had written that message on the mural wall. The window is still open. She didn't know if Yalan saw it. He hadn't replied since. She had hoped he would, but maybe she had hoped for too much. She returned to her room that evening and sat in front of the screen. No new messages. She sighed. Being an ambassador was a respected job. The Varexy leaders liked her. The local families shared meals with her. Children laughed when she tried to pronounce their words. But when the meetings ended, when the dinners were done, when the laughter faded, she felt alone, not just far from Earth, far from him. She opened an old holophoto from the academy days. It showed her and Yalan standing outside their training shuttle, arms around each other's shoulders, both laughing so hard their eyes were closed. That memory felt like a lifetime ago, and yet still warmed her chest. She whispered, "Where are you now?" At the same time, many light years away, Yalan sat at his desk aboard the orbital station. He stared at his blank screen. No reply. No signal from Awa. He had sent his last message 3 weeks ago. The one where he said he would wait, but nothing had come back. Was she too busy? Had she changed her mind? Didn't know. The uncertainty hurt, but he still believed in her. He believed in them still. Some nights were harder than others. That evening, Yolan walked to the viewing dome, the highest point of the station. Few people came here at this hour. It was quiet, peaceful. He looked up at the stars. Among the hundreds of lights, he found the one he always looked for. Virex-4, still there. Still shining. He didn't know what made him do it, but he spoke aloud. Allah, if you can hear me, I'm still here. I haven't gone anywhere. No reply, of course, just silence. But somehow, speaking it out loud made it feel real. Human the next morning. A small package arrived at Jalen's quarters, no name. No sender, just a note from a friend who paints. He opened the box and gasped. Inside was a folded cloth, hand-painted with twin moons, above a golden tree. A Varexa-style painting, and tucked inside was something else. A single red leaf. Yalan held it gently in his hand. The edges sparkled with soft crystals. He knew where it came from. He smiled. She heard me. That same night, Ayla stood on her own balcony, staring at the sky. She couldn't see Earth from here. It was too far. It's too faint. But she believed Yalan had seen the gift. She believed he had understood. She didn't need a reply this time. because sometimes, just knowing someone was listening, that was enough. She placed a new message in the system. It wasn't a video, just a few lines of text. When I'm afraid, I remember Earth. When I feel lost, I remember you. Hope is heavy, but humans carry it well. Back on the station, Yalan received the message. He read it once, then again, then one more time. He didn't cry, but his throat tightened. He sat down, placed his hand over his chest, and whispered, "So do you." Then he recorded a message. This time it wasn't just for her. It was for everyone who ever felt alone in the dark. He said, "We are human. Wait, we reach. We believe. Even when the signal is weak. Across the stars, across silence, we don't stop caring." He saved it, sent it, and left the window open, just like she did. Asterisk. The storm rolled in across HFY, like a soft wave of silver clouds. Alice stood by the wide window of the embassy building, watching the rain fall in slow, glowing threads. HFY storms were quiet, no thunder, no lightning, just soft music in the wind and gentle humming from the crystal trees outside. Still, it made her feel small. The planet was beautiful, but it wasn't home. And even after all these months, she couldn't shake the feeling that something important was missing. She sat down at her desk, pulled open her private message logs, and stared at Jalen's last message again. We are human. We wait. We reach. Even when the signal is weak. She read those words like a prayer. Her fingers hovered over the reply button, but still, she couldn't write back. Not yet. Something in her heart was stuck. A strange fear. Maybe it was the fear that if they tried to reconnect too much, something would break. Maybe it was easier to hold on to the distance than risk what came after. She hated that fear because she still missed him every single day. Far across the stars, Yalan stood in the docking bay of the orbital station. A large Terran science vessel was preparing to depart for a supply run near the outer colonies. The crew was rushing around him, shouting orders, stealing cargo. He wasn't part of this mission, but he came anyway, not for work, to send something. He carried a small metal box, sealed and marked with Ayla's name. Inside was a small memory chip, wrapped in soft cloth. On that chip were pictures, old photos from training, moments they had shared, and a short video of Yalan standing in the gardens, playing the harmonica still badly under the artificial Earth sky. He had recorded a message to go with it. You once said you didn't believe in forever. But I do. I believe some people are meant to find each other no matter how far they go. You don't have to reply. Just hold this if you ever feel alone. He handed the package to the ship's comms officer, smiled, and watched the ship take off into the void. 2 weeks later, Ala received it. The captain of a passing science vessel delivered it to her by hand. She opened the box slowly, gently. When she played the harmonica video, she laughed so hard she cried. The tears surprised her because they weren't sad. They were full of warmth. She whispered, "Oh, you always knew how to make things feel close, 7 from galaxies away." That evening, she walked out into the HFY hills alone. She carried the memory chip in her jacket pocket, like something sacred. She climbed to the top of a gentle slope, where the wind sang through tall grass, and looked up at the sky. She couldn't see Earth, couldn't see Yalan, but she felt him somehow, and that was enough for now. She took out her comm device, and instead of a message, she recorded something else. A song. Her voice was quiet. A slow Earth lullaby. Her mother used to sing when she was small. She sang it under the stars and sent it to one person, Joanne. The next morning, Yalan was in the middle of maintenance duty when his message pad buzzed. One new file from Ayla he opened. It froze. No words. Just her voice. Singing, soft, cracked. Beautiful. He sat down in the middle of the hallway, hands shaking, and closed his eyes. Around him, the station moved on loud, fast, busy. But inside, he was still, because that voice was home. Later that night, he stood in the same garden where he had recorded his last message. He looked at the stars. Varix 4 still out there, glowing. He whispered, "You don't have to come back. I just want you to know I'll always be here." His cum buzzed. Another message, just 2 words, from Allah. "I know. Some people believe light is the fastest thing in the universe, but sometimes it's something else. A memory, a song, a message from someone who still cares." Yalin stood by the observation window, watching stars drift by like tiny sparks in endless darkness. The orbital station hummed quietly behind him, but all his attention was on the vast universe beyond. It had been months since Allah moved to Varix 4. Months filled with silence and messages, hopes and doubts. Sometimes he felt as if she was a distant star bright, beautiful, but unreachable. He rubbed his temples and sighed. He remembered the old saying from Earth, "Humans build bridges, even over impossible distances." Maybe that was true. Maybe they just needed to find the right way. One afternoon, as he was finishing a report, a call came through on his cum. It was the station's diplomatic liaison. "Yalin, a delegation from Varix 4 is arriving next week for peace talks, and Alamarin will be on the lead team." His heart skipped. Could this be the chance he waited for? The days passed slowly, filled with preparation and nerves. Yalin couldn't focus on anything but the thought of seeing her again. He wondered what he would say. Would she be the same? Would the distance have changed her? Would she even want to see him? Finally, the day arrived. The delegation stepped off, their ship in gleaming robes. Allah was at the front, strong, confident, but with eyes that held the same warmth. He remembered. Their eyes met. Time seemed to freeze. Later, during a break in the talks, Yalin found a quiet moment to speak with her. "Hey." "Allah," he said, voice soft. She smiled, a little shy. "I wasn't sure if you'd come." "I had to," he said. "I missed you." She looked away, then back. "I missed you too." They talked for hours, not about politics or missions, but about memories, about training days, silly jokes, and hopes for the future. The distance between them felt smaller with every word. Before she left the station to return to Varix 4, Allah handed him a small data chip. "Keep this," she said. "It's the new message system we're developing. It will send signals faster and clearer." Len smiled. Maybe this will help close the distance. As she boarded her ship, Yalin watched her disappear into the stars. He whispered, "No matter how far, I'll always find a way." Humans build bridges, not just with technology, but with heart. They reach across the void. They hold on. They hope, because that's what it means to be human. Asterisk, the last shuttle left the station. Carrying Allah back to Varix 4, Yalin stood alone on the observation deck. Watching the bright ship fade into the endless stars, a wave of sadness washed over him. This time, the distance felt heavier, but he took a deep breath. Humans never gave up. They never stopped trying. They carried hope like a flame in the dark. He turned and walked back to his quarters. There, waiting for him, was the small data chip Allah had given him. He plugged it into his cum terminal. A new message popped up. Not from Allah. It's time from a new system. Fast, clear, warm. A voice spoke through the speakers. "Yalla, this is Allah's new message system. It will connect us no matter the distance." Yalin smiled. Days later, Yalin received another message. This one was different. Allah's face filled the screen, smiling brightly. "I'm coming home," she said. "Let's build a new future, together." Jalen's heart soared. He knew the road ahead would not be easy, but that was human nature. They faced challenges. They overcame fear. They built bridges across stars and time. He prepared for the journey to Varix 4, packing memories, hope, and strength. Because no matter the distance, no matter the silence, humanity never stops reaching for those they love. And as the shuttle left the station, it's carrying Yalin toward the distant blue world. The stars watched silently. Witness to a simple truth: when humans care, no distance is too great.